Janie Flores Live and Buena Vida Media congratulate the Hispanic Women of Distinction Honorees 2022. Join us for a special series featuring 4 of the honorees. We welcome Vanessa Seltzer, Director of Philanthropy for ARC Broward. Vanessa affirms that the Hispanic women of today lead with a focus to empower others to transform their communities and build the leaders of tomorrow. Welcome, Vanessa. Good to have you on the show today. How are you doing?
I'm great. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited.
Well, first of all, congratulations are in order. You are one of the 2022 Hispanic Women of Distinction honorees, and we are so excited for you. What an honor, what a thrill.
Thank you so much. I'm so honored to be a part of this year's group.
You know, I was a Hispanic Woman of Distinction in 2020.
Oh,
and
nice.
It definitely is quite an experience. And more than anything, the amazing women. I'm like, wow. I was like, I'm a part of this.
I know. I read up on some of the women. I'm like,
yes.
I don't know if I compare. Okay.
I know, right? It's really, really just an awesome experience. And thanks to Elaine Vasquez for continuing to do this year after year. But Vanessa, tell us a little bit about you. Hispanic Women of Distinction honorees are exceptional women to begin with. They are committed to their community. They lead lives of example of being servant leaders in the community, and that's why they're selected. As I said, hundreds of applications are submitted every year, but only 12 are selected, including also a Latina Pioneer and now an up-and-comer. So you are one of those women this year, one of those 12, Vanessa. And tell us a little bit about you, about the work that you do, and what has led to this point in your life.
Wow. So much, right? Well, I am the Director of Philanthropy, so I have been working in nonprofit now since about 2005. I actually started on the program side, so I was a social worker. I value being a servant leader because I was raised by 2 servant leaders. My dad was an Episcopalian reverend for 50 some odd years. And my mom worked for WIC, which is a government funded program in most people don't know this town, but in an indigenous town of Florida called Indiantown. So she led a big program there fighting childhood obesity. So I was raised by people who were constantly pouring into the community. So I feel like I just don't know any different. But I have really enjoyed serving the nonprofit sector, both as a development professional in fundraising and bringing awareness to so many amazing causes. But I also find a lot of value in pouring back into my professional community. So I also am the president of our Broward chapter for the Association of Fundraising Professionals. And my focus being that president is making our chapter not just the ethical and professional standard of fundraising in our area, but also being equitable and reaching other nonprofits that may be smaller, can't afford a regular membership, that we're still able to provide them the resources, the guidance, the mentorship, and the community that they need to be the best development professional they can, because then in turn, they're making their organization healthy, they're thriving, and they're serving more people. So those are the things that are very important to me. I also have been serving on the Women's Council, the Greater Fort Lauderdale Chamber for a few years now, and their incoming chair and empowering other women. I was raised by a strong Latina woman. My mom is Puerto Rican, my dad is Cuban, so there has been an internal war in my household my whole life. But the biggest thing I learned from them is that you empowering the people around you not only brings you so much value in life and purpose, but it's also another way of serving your community. So I love the work that we do with the Women's Council. Graciela Valdez, who's also a former Hispanic Woman of Distinction, is a former chair of this council as well. So I got to work closely with her. Heidi Azalte Kaufman is my incoming chair for AFP, also a former chair, Hispanic Women of Distinction. So I'm surrounded by greatness constantly. And I just want to continue and carry that torch.
That is so inspiring. Vanessa, you work in an area that is traditionally not a strong is not a strong area where Hispanics are concerned, Latinos are concerned, philanthropy. And I think that that is something that we need to work on, or maybe we're not looking at it the same way. Or the right way. Maybe we are giving, but we just don't know how to direct that giving, right? Because, I remember growing up, and even now, our families are so generous with the neighbors, with the neighborhood kids. And, we always have an extra plate of food to give to someone.
Exactly.
How do we then translate that as we start to mature, and as we are now second, third generations, how do we translate that into becoming more philanthropic with organizations?
That's such a great question. So I think I'm almost a great case study for this, because I was raised both in such a strong Latino household, but in a very religious household as well, with my dad being a reverend, my mom the quintessential preacher's wife. So we were always taught, tithe to the church, give to the church, help your family. Again, like you said, if your neighbor, anyone needs that. So it's always, I think in our culture and kind of in our history, especially coming stateside for a lot of us, it was to take care of each other, right? To make sure that we as the culture and we as the community are thriving. Latinos are great with giving of their time and of their talents. I think the one gap in that, and that you touched on, is of their treasure. I think I don't want people to ever underestimate the power of giving of your time and of your talent, especially for nonprofits. I'm not a marketing professional. I do not know how to market. I can talk all day about the amazing work we do, but I don't know how to do that. If a marketing professional lent their expertise, that's so valuable.
Yeah.
A lawyer lending that expertise, that saves the organization money. Volunteers, going out in the community and speaking on behalf of an organization is very powerful, and sometimes brings in more dollars than what you thought you could even give. But when it comes to the monetary gift, I always, I had to explain this almost to my own family. If I was in trouble, you would want to help me, right? Think about the community. We've always envisioned this community as almost an extension of our family. I, like so many first and second, third generations, we maybe didn't necessarily grow up with our extended family around us. Both of mine were either in Puerto Rico or in Cuba. And so, I saw them on holidays. The community was my extended family. I had 100 tias and all these tios and all these cousins that weren't blood, but they felt like it. And so I would encourage everyone to view nonprofit as that extension. For me, our Broward touches so closely to my family. I do have family that had disabilities or are on the autism spectrum. So the services and the mission that they provide to the community speaks to me. So it also implores people to find that, what is it that really speaks to you? I previously worked at a cancer organization. Have you been impacted by cancer? With the uproars in what's happening in our society right now, maybe ensuring that you're uplifting the next generation of Hispanic leaders is important to you. There's Hispanic Unity. There's other organizations that tie directly into that. So it's finding the organization that speaks to you, that almost feels like that extended family, and then really figuring out how you can give in a way that is meaningful to you and to the organization.
That is truly, truly inspirational. Thank you so much, Vanessa. So, Vanessa, I just want to read the quote that you shared with Hispanic Women of Distinction because I think it applies to me. And I really can identify with it. The Hispanic women of today lead with a focus to empower others, to transform their communities and build the leaders of tomorrow. I love that sentiment. I agree with it. And like I said, I identify with that. Thank you so very much for those words of wisdom and encouragement. So, Vanessa, how can we follow you on social media? How can we learn more about the work that you are doing in the community?
So you can follow me on any of ARC Broward's pages. We are on Facebook, ARC Broward, also our culinary. So we have if you're a foodie, then please follow the great culinary program that's not just impacting those with disabilities and providing them a career in culinary, but we also have a beautiful event space here in Sunrise that has constant events. We just had a burger bash. We have another one that's coming up. We have a Delish series. We're also on Instagram under ARC Broward. We also have Miss ARC Broward, which is an empowerment pageant for young ladies between the ages of 6 and 17 years old who also have just any kind of disability. And it's just a way for them to build friendships and community, as well as empowering them to showcase the talents that they have. So you can find me on any of those social media handles and the work that I'm doing here at ARC. Or you can also follow the Greater Fort Lauderdale Chamber Women's Council and the amazing work that we're doing there to empower not just this generation of women leaders and entrepreneurs, but the future generations as well.
Fantastic. Well, I look forward to meeting you in person at the Hispanic Women of Distinction event. Again, that is August 26th at the Signature Grand in Davie. And you can reach out to Hispanic Women of Distinction, and perhaps there may be one ticket left.
I know.
Sold out.
You got to talk Elaine into it.
Yeah, there you go. Thank you once again, Vanessa. It really has been an honor to have you on the show, and we will meet each other pretty soon.
I know. I'm so excited.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.